Here, ready?
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go where no man has gone before.
All right, I have made the trek from Altus to Oklahoma City. We are going to be listening to Go For Baroque play today as part of this virtual concert. I am here at Peggy Payne's studio at her house, and she has a lovely garden out here. This is Nick Young, of course, by the way. Hello. And we're going to head up right to the door, head inside. Hello.
I'm so glad you're here.
I am glad. And who is this right here?
Oh, this is Kendall. She's the studio mascot. Kendall, come here.
Look, Kendall.
Come and say hello. Come and say hello. What a good girl.
Oh my goodness. Can I see your space real quick? Can we see your studio?
This is where I teach. This is when my students come in. They come right straight in here. And it's kind of the Peggy Payne Museum. I've have posters from all around, everywhere. This was when Kendall was being shown by Denzi. She has a history of being a show dog. I run the Governor's Arts Award one year. These are posters from Mexico when I went down there and played. This was the center of the Oklahoma City magazine for advertisements for all the big things happening in Oklahoma City. This was one of the ballets that I played for. What can I say? This is where, of course, this is my teaching piano, and then the harpsichord lives here that I brought down to Altus for concerts. And then what else can I say? This is my favorite lamp. It's got the original globe on the top, which is very unusual, and obviously has music on it. When I found that, it had its home here, so it came to stay. Okay, so this is where I practice. Both the grands were built. This one was built in 1943, and then the one in the back was built in 1939. So the older Steinways are really special, and I am really blessed to have such lovely instruments. Whenever my students are learning pieces that they're getting ready for a recital or a concert, then they come in and play on that one, and we kind of play back and forth with each other, and they feel like they're having to deal with a larger piano action. So it's really good for their training to do that. So this is where I work, this is where I practice, and then my studio is where the kids have their lessons.
And this is where Kendall sleeps.
And this is where Kendall sleeps. Hello, I want to welcome all of you to our very first Go For Baroque virtual adventure. We have so enjoyed coming to Altus and being part of your music experiences there, but we just couldn't do that this year with COVID. So we decided that we could re-envision how to reach through this screen and have a three-dimensional arts experience with your community. So we're welcoming you all into our teaching spaces and our workspaces here in Oklahoma City. This is where we make music. This is where I teach. I have 25 students. I teach Monday through Thursday from about 3 to 7 in the evening. And I've had to really be creative about how I teach my students now. I leave an additional 15 minutes between every student so that the air filter, the air sanitizer that I have with a UVC light in it can sanitize the air in my teaching studio. So we start out with fresh air every new student that comes in the door. And I alcohol wipe the piano bench, I put paper towels and rubber bands on the doorknobs. And so that way everybody can feel safe when they come in here, and that's the point with my students. You can see here in the back is our studio mascot. This is Kendall. She is obviously Dalmatian. She was bred to be a show dog, and Dinzy actually showed her some for me when I first got her. But she is always here with us while I'm teaching. She has passed all of her therapy dog certifications, and it's been really hard for her, just like the students, to not be out and seeing people and visiting the world out there, but it just hasn't been safe to have a dog out in public places. So the students look forward to seeing her, and she's very glad when the students start coming so she can welcome them into the door. The first piece that we're going to play is a Shokin Farewell. It was written, it was part of the soundtrack for Ken Burns' PBS series that was on, it's a 6-part series, and it was called The Civil War. And I wanted to put this on our concert to Independence Day for a celebration of our country, because I think it reminds us of the sounds of our history, and also as a country that we have such a resilience as a nation. And so I'm going to be the guitar on the harpsichord, and so this is a Shokin Farewell.
right, we have arrived at Denzi's. Let's go meet some dogs.
These are Rhodesia Ridgebacks, and they have ridge on the back. They're
See that?
for hunting lions. They hold them at bay until the hunters arrive. And we're going to play. This is how Ridgebacks play.
So how long have you had them for?
We got our first Ridgeback in 1997.
Oh, goodness.
And
And how many have you had altogether?
the dogs that we've had in our house, 6, this is 6. We put on a lot of our dogs and our show dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do you show these dogs?
yes, I do. They're all three show dogs. She's a champion. She's a grand champion, AKC.
Oh, my goodness.
And he's going to start his show career this summer.
So what does that process look like?
We go to classes, and we stand and stack, and I can get my show lead out and show you what we do.
I'd love to see it.
All right, so what I usually do is we do like free stacking, and that means without the show lead on, and I don't put my hands on and put feet down on the floor.
Mhm.
So when we do our free stacking, here's what we do. I'm gonna put you in a break. Can you stand pretty? Stand pretty, knothead. Come here, stand pretty. Yes. Stand pretty. Yes. Good girl. And Zada does that too, but Zada does more tricks. Give me a paw. Yes. Give me the other paw. That's the other paw. Give me the other paw. This, yes. This is the only time they stand still. So when we free stack, that's like without putting our hands on them like I just did. And when we do a hard stack, come here, silly. I put feet down. We usually don't have other dogs around. Stand.
It's all right.
Stay. Stand, stay. And then I just stack them that way. And then we stand for the judge.
How often do they get their hair cut?
Never.
Really?
It's a total natural dog. Yeah, it's totally a natural dog. They're descended from the Khoi dog in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the ridge came from. The Khoi is extinct. And then the Europeans came in and it bred them with their greyhounds and mastiffs. And so they are a really good farm dog. They're bred to do just about anything. They can do anything. So this is my practice space. This is where I practice.
Do they like listening to you play?
Uh-huh. They do. When I start tuning up, this is the only piece of furniture they get to be on. They have dog beds all over the house.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I start tuning, they're on the futon and laying down and
And they just listen.
we listen, yeah. And when we have puppies, we set up a puppy fence in here and we put down linoleum and we have puppies all over the place. And they get to hear me practice too.
How often are there puppies around here?
Well, we only breed maybe once every 2 or 3 years. They're like crazy puppies, and then when they hit about 1 or 2, they turn into couch potatoes and they spend most of the day holding the couches down. She's my sweetie. So she's got 9 points, so she gets a grand champion title.
How does that work?
Well, you compete at the dog shows, and there's a dog show every weekend, somewhere, several throughout the United States.
So you guys travel a lot?
And well, with Philharmonic and concert schedule, I'm working on weekends most of the time, so I don't get to go to as many shows as people do. But I show my own dogs. I don't have a handler.
Oh.
So it's a performance. It's not like Mozart. It's like a loose cannon on a very small, thin piece of leather. Amazing Grace was written by a reformed British slave trader, John Newton. He eventually turned to the ministry and wrote this beautiful hymn that was meant to be spoken and not sung. So the focus would be on the words. So later, the tune Harmony Grove was added to the words, which was a perfect match, and which is the tune that we recognize as Amazing Grace. To this song represents a lot of peace and transition and resolution and love to so many generations across the world and through the ages. And it's a pentatonic song, which means it's 5 notes. It's so simple,
and in its simplicity just has given us all so much. Amazing Grace.
All right.
Hi everybody, come
Hello.
see my shop.
Okay.
Inside the house is where I do all my cutting, but when I need to do the dirty work, I bring it out here. This is where I do all my glass work. I've got my little ring saw here, and this isn't as dangerous as you might think it is. You can actually put your finger up to it and it won't cut you. And this is where I do my grinding. Got little grinders that come off of that. You just tighten them down. There's a water tank, a sponge, and it's kind of archaic, but works great. Then I have these other hand sanders that I do a little bit of finishing with. They're different grit. There's the kiln I do a lot of my finishing in, fire polishing mainly on my jewelry items and things like that. The bigger plates and things go in the big kiln in the garage.
Ah, I see.
Okay. All right, so why don't we go up under the tent and I'll give you a little background. Hi, I'm Jupe Shelley, the cellist with Go For Baroque, and I've been with the group for over 25 years now. Enjoyed going all over the state, even out of state. I love going down to Altus every time. Wish we could have this year, but we'll make this happen. About 2009 is when I got started in another one of my passions, which is fused glass art. And I was lucky enough to be in a school, in Norman Public Schools, at Alcott Middle School. Wonderful teacher, Bonnie Nippenberg was the art teacher there. She offered classes after school on how to fuse glass. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. So I took those, and here it is 12 years later, and I'm still doing it. You might wonder, what is fused glass? It's different than blowing glass. I don't use a torch or blow or any of that kind of thing. What I do is I take sheets of glass like this. It's flat, all flat glass. There's different types. This is called a streamer. It's just a clear, and it's got little streamers in it. And then you have all different kinds. This company is called Bullseye. It's out of Portland, Oregon. These are two of my favorite colors: turquoise, transparent, and this is opalescent. It's a vanilla. The vanilla, having sulfur in it, reacts with the copper in this glass. And here's an example of what the different kinds of colors you can get out of that.
Oh, I see that.
So you see
oh,
the
that's
blues in
cool.
there, but then also you get down in there and it starts getting browns and reds in between the lines where they touch each other. My favorite glasses are these ones called streaky glasses.
Drop the glove, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to need that in a minute. But these glasses contain more than one color. So I like to use those when I'm making things like this and the star bowl, which I'm going to show you how I do that. If you look closely at some of these, you see the way I've done it. I've cut strips of glass, and I start in the middle and go out each side. So can you see the face in this one?
I do.
I call this the
See it?
Bigfoot. And then if you look at this one, you see the eyes.
Oh, okay.
It's a lion, kind of like a lion.
Mm-hmm.
And then here, I call this a baboon.
Oh, there, I see it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And then this one on the end, it's kind of another lion looking thing. Get the water off of that.
There it is. Just gotta get the right angle.
Yeah. Okay. Now what I do is I take these flat pieces of glass and I use triangles. This is a technique that I haven't seen anybody else doing, but I kind of, early on, I learned how to do this, and I thought, well, I'll just make it this way and see what happens. I have my big cutter inside, but you can see the scores that I made on all those.
I'm gonna make sure it shows up on the camera. There you go, you can see it. Okay.
And what I do here, I'll just show you. This is a hand. I did this with my machine there, but just score it like that. Get it as accurate as you can. Then I'd just go down and I'd cut, and I'd make all my little triangles. This is the cutter that I used, and this is the running pliers. So anyway, I do that for hours, and then when I have enough of those, I'm going to make a star bowl. So I made this. So far, I have invested about 6 hours in this piece right here. And what I do is I just lay these. The wind is blowing these over.
Oh, those are not locked in position.
No,
Those
they're
are...
all freestanding, and sometimes they're leaners, and you have to get those in there just right. But what I do is I draw my grid. I decide how big I want the piece. This one is 15-inch diameter, so I just build out to the edges. It looks like I'm almost done, but actually these voids here, there's a lot of space there, and that's where it gets a little tedious, because I'm not actually building the star then, I'm just filling spaces. So what I do is I just do something like this. And the tweezers for me are like the bow on my cello. So I just find the right size pieces and build it. This is a good time where you can listen to your music, listen to the radio, podcasts. I like to listen to a lot of podcasts, and I'm into Bigfoot stories, so that intrigues me.
I can see.
So,
I was just up in Seattle.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff up there for that.
Yeah, so I enjoy listening to those stories. Those are fun. Okay, then what I do is I take this to my kiln in the garage, and I bring it up to 1480 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I let it soak for about 45 minutes to an hour. And this is what I get, is something like this. And you can see all those points that were pointing up, they have kind of an organic look to them now. And if I turn it over on the back, you can see actually all the individual pieces.
Oh.
this stuff here it was because of the sulfur. There was something on the paper I did that on, so
Yeah.
that's why I didn't go any further on this one. But one day I'll cut around the edges. This was one of the first ones I did. This has over 2,000 pieces in it.
Oh my goodness.
And the reason I haven't gone ahead and cut around the edges is because my saw is so small and this is so large. This would just take a lot of time for me to do. So I've gotten better at building to the edges like I did on here, so that I can take it to my lapidary, which is a flat grinder that goes this way, and I can just roll the edges on it and get a nice edge on that. And that's what I do at the end of this too. Okay, now when I get to the flat point here, I'm gonna want to slump it into a bowl. So I have forms, and here's one right here. This is about a 15-inch bowl, which will fit the one that the red one that I was working on over there. And you bring this in the kiln, but you go at a lower temperature, about 1220, and I just kind of keep an eye on it. There's a little peephole in the kiln. I can kind of look in and see where I'm at. So it's something that you don't want to walk away from. It's something you want to keep an eye on when you're doing it. Okay, and then finally, when it comes out, we have something like this. This is a little bigger bowl. Let me get the water off of it. But is the light coming through there?
A little bit. Oh, I can see it. I can see it.
Go.
Yeah.
But this is a 14-pointed star, which is what I'm doing with this one I'm making right now. And you can see on the back here, you can see all the individual pieces.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
the other side, to me, just looks organic. I just love it.
Yeah.
And when I do my grid, I'm always thinking, well, how many points do I want on my star? And that's pretty much where I go from. Then I get a color scheme, and then I just start laying them out, and it just grows into something. And that's kind of what I do. My company is called Jazzworks Fused Glass. That's JASWORX as in X-ray .com. And you can get a hold of me there or my Facebook page. And that's about all.
Okay, this is the time to say thank you to all of you all for being our audience and wanting to share the 4th of July and Independence Day, your holiday celebrations with us. I want to thank Kathy Hale and the Shortgrass Arts Council for their effort in keeping the arts alive in Altus, and all of our coordination that we've had to work with the community in past years and this year, having this virtual experience that we're having. I want to thank the BluHarmonix for collaborating with us on this presentation for your community. They have been such a gift in the past when we've gotten to perform with them in a live setting, and Nick had such great ideas for some selections that they could bookend this video with us. And then finally, last but not least, is Nick Young, who is our videographer for today, and the wonderful choral teacher in Altus that we have just been so blessed to work with. He brings so much enthusiasm and creative ideas to our presentations when we're down there, and his students obviously adore him. The last piece we're going to play is a vocalese by Rachmaninoff. A vocalese is a song that is sung without words, and the singer, it was written initially for singer with orchestra. The singer sings the expression through different vowel sounds, and we as instrumentalists don't have words with our music, and so we have lots of different colors that we use in our sounds when we're playing, and so we get to be the singer and the orchestra today. This piece has been transcribed for solo cello, for solo flute, for solo violin, being played with piano or with an orchestra. And today we are doing, I'm the orchestra, the piano is in this transcription, and then we'll have violin and cello. So this is the Rachmaninoff vocalese.
Throughout COVID-19, it's been very easy to feel isolated and alone. Choir gave me an escape from that. It gave me an opportunity to connect with people who were passionate about our music and even more passionate about helping each other. It gave me a community of people that I knew that I could always rely on. To me, choir is my family, and I wouldn't be the person I am today without them.
Choir during the pandemic for me was a big help. It just kind of helped me relieve stress, and through music is a stress reliever, and it just kind of makes me feel comfortable and more relaxed with my life, and just the environment and the music, just like the music makes you feel a certain way, and it puts you in a different world that's not focused on what's going on around you in the real world and how the pandemic was, but like music changed everything for me. And music was really probably one of the biggest things that made going through the pandemic easier than it could have been.
I really appreciated having a choir program this year, like not only this year but during the pandemic, just because it's really nice to have something to look forward to, and especially like when you are already used to looking forward to like something that's so important to you like that, like music, the way music is for a lot of us at Altus High School. It's nice to know that that wasn't, I guess, taken away, that we still had that, and we were still able to participate and just like still be a part of something. And overall, it was just a really great experience. Even though like the setup was different, it was like a bit odd, it still ended up coming together, and in the end, you still get the collective feeling like you did something, you know, with a group. It still mattered a lot, so it's nice to have something to look forward to.